Hi, my name is Specialist Walker. Today's brief will be on stewardship of the profession. Everything that is in this brief is unclassified. You can find our agenda behind me. Today we'll go into a brief introduction on the profession. Then we'll go discuss the Army as a profession. Next, we'll talk about how the trust of who we serve is earned and temporary. Lastly, we'll go into how the Army is responsible for maintaining that trust. After that, we will do a brief summary, followed by questions. So a brief introduction into a profession. Profession is a paid occupation with prolonged training. So what does that mean to the Army? How does it go tie into being a profession in the Army? From the moment we join the Army, we go through basic training and AIT, job specific, in order to train to be proficient in our jobs. After that, we continue to train, whether it's NTC or JRTC or field ops or anything that has that nature. We are always training, always making sure that we are proficient in everything that we do. Because of all this training, we can see that the military is considered a profession. The Army polices itself from UCMJ to policies to Army regulations to doctrines. Everything that we do in the Army is policed by leadership, whether you're an NCO, soldier, or an officer, or a warrant officer even. So understanding the Army as a profession, we can recognize that the pieces make up the Army. For instance, leadership, Army values, ethics, everything makes up the Army in order to create a profession. We hold our incoming privates and cadets that come into the Army to a high standard. It's a high bar entry in order to get in. We are the 1% of the U.S. population. Depending on your qualifications, you're placed within the organization from how smart you are, how you do on your ASVAB, to all the way down to your grades for cadets. The Army is a self-policing organization, and we are able to maintain those high standards. Like I said before, Army values, leadership, even your warrior ethos. The Gallup poll of 2019 shows that the U.S. military is the highest trusted profession. Why is that? Well, we got to look at our history. We got to look at how we present ourselves to the general public, what we do, how we are able to show them that we can be trusted. Just as civilians that work in, for instance, lawyers or doctors, that's a profession. Lawyers go through years and years of school, so do doctors. Lawyers are held by the Bar Association for everything that they do, for their license. And in that nature, they are considered a high profession. They hold themselves to high standards, similar to the Army. So we'll go into trust is earned and temporary. Many nations don't even trust or respect their military, whether it's lack of funding, fear, or not even believing in the purpose of their military. In history, we've seen U.S. military lose the trust of the American people with the example of Vietnam. Vietnam was a very big mess. We went into Vietnam thinking that we could win and didn't have the support of the American people, and we failed. We lost a lot of lives, we lost a lot of people, and it was just an overall failure to the United States military. There was a significant rebuild done with the American people when Operation Desert Storm came. Operation Desert Storm was led by President Bush, and he sought the public support. He wanted them to support him in going into Operation Desert Storm, which in the end it only lasted 43 days before bringing his troops home. To maintain and continuing to maintain trust, we must focus on reinforcing stewardship and our higher standards. As leaders, we need to understand that we are there for our soldiers. We are there to provide them with the best knowledge and support and be professional with them. We're all a team. We all work together. We all need to police ourselves to make sure that we're doing the right thing and doing everything by the regulations and enforcing that discipline at all levels, keeping leaders held accountable. And lastly, to maintain trust, we must continue to project our professional image. Whether we're outside off duty or on duty, we need to be able to understand that we are American soldiers. We represent the United States Army. We are there to show the public that we are the best of the best. We do what we want. What we do is important to the United States. We need to continue maintaining our traditions and be transparent, as well as have order. So to quick recap, I had talked about the profession and a brief intro into the profession, and we discussed on how the Army is a profession. After that, we had talked about the trust is earned and temporary. And lastly, we talked about how the Army is responsible for maintaining that trust. I wanted to make sure I left some time to field any questions about today's brief. If you have any questions, I'm here to answer your questions. If there's no questions, this concludes my brief for stewardship of the profession.